Welcome to the Alive Loren Podcast and the place of celebrating, leaning into juicy, soulful, whole, living, being, showing up on this adventure of a lifetime. So with today's title about showing up fully and trusting that life has an agenda of her own, I was blessed with a sort of like direct personal experience of glimpses into divine choreography that for me, when these happen, they're not symbols of like being on some right path. It's that every moment is the right path. Every moment is as divinely choreographed, if I could but see. And that those moments, those glimpses, are reminders to like just lean into living so faithfully and fully knowing that if you took the most exquisite production ever created in the history of ever, that is life, and it is all divinely choreographed beyond our wildest imaginings, and those little moments of seeing it, of glimpsing it, to have those to remember, to live more of life from that place. And obviously as part of the human condition, the whole challenge is, the whole game is not to get lost in the illusion and just to have fun with ourselves when we do and be light and But yes, so back to this story, which is so much the mix of showing up fully and knowing that beyond, it's not what I think or what I'm going to control, that life has an agenda, and to go with that flow as well. So there's a mix of different things. Started with showing up authentically and just being present to another's raw, vulnerable sharing. So I had a conversation with someone very dear and close to me who just was going through some challenging experiences in a personal relational dynamic. And it was just really beautiful because the conversation was just in a vulnerable, authentic, raw sharing, not from a place of blame or accusation, or it was just like a raw, uncensored, this is what my experience is like, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm going through, and not from it all coming from a place of solution, but in holding like a witnessing place. It's interesting because sometimes I notice in myself like a tendency to want to fix and solve and solution. But there's also something magical when possible to gear into more of a place of just witness, that sometimes then in the place of witness, there's unplanned insights or things that come up to share in the moment that then sometimes like trigger that either just in the sharing alone, just in the other person being witnessed, it actually shifts and moves something. Where either then, even though something isn't solved, they're okay, or there's just like this being with the mystery, or something does shift and there's some sort of like aha that comes out of being witnessed by another. So it's just like testimony to our interconnectedness. And also sometimes the person witnessing something spontaneously can come through to share that's then relevant for everybody. So in this conversation, as literally it was a phone call, like I finished the phone call, there was just this like wave of kind of more like analogies. It wasn't answers. They weren't answers. They were just like ways of moving into different perspectives and ideas and analogies that possibly can help and soothe in situations. So a lot of the theme was around, when something happens and the initial response is a judgment of, but how could you? If we can open ourselves to hearing people's stories and where they've been and what they've been through, that often all of us are so much a product and conditioning of what we've been through, that then when you understand the person in a larger context, it softens. There's more like a compassion in understanding in their response as opposed to a judgment. And even when like what can seem as harsh steps need to be taken, that they can be taken from a place of compassion as opposed to retaliation and retribution. So yeah, they were just kind of, and so what happens is, I then now am absolutely convinced that I'm on this friend's WhatsApp profile. Like convinced, because I'd got a picture from this friend before, and I was looking at this friend literally as the phone call came through, so I was convinced. So I start this voice note, which lands up being like a 5-minute share. And then I take, I'm dog sitting at the moment, and I take the doggy for a walk, and just before work, and then I get back, and I see, the message didn't send. And I thought, maybe it was like a WhatsApp glitch. I was like, that was a bit of a waste. But maybe I didn't actually press record, or I didn't press send. Maybe I'd finished the voice note and somehow paused instead of sending it. So, yeah, that was it. And then I check, and I get another message from someone else saying, wow, thank you so much for this message. It was really valuable, but I don't think it was, I appreciated your sharing, but I don't think it was meant for me. So then I see, lordy lord, I somehow was on someone else's profile, beyond my sureness and my planning of being on my friend's profile. I was on a different profile. And I was like, oopsie daisy. And I was like, well, I'm glad you found it valuable. Thank you for letting me know. And I just thought, wow, that's actually incredible divine intervention there, because obviously there's threads in that message you were meant to receive, because you were the last. I wasn't having you in mind when I said, when I was sending this. So this person got value. And so I forwarded to the friend who's initially intended for. Then I get another message from another friend saying, I've just listened to your message, and I really resonated with threads, and it was really meaningful, and I'm so glad, thank you for sending it, but I don't think it was meant for me. So now I'm getting 2 people who've received this message, and now I'm like, okay, I thought it was divine providence that the person somehow recorded on someone else's profile, and I'm like, what's going on? So then it's not, when I do my blessings, blessings and stuff go out, and some people get one a month, twice a month, once a week, as and when I do them. And they're not groups. So WhatsApp has a broadcast facility where, as long as someone's got you saved as a contact, you can send a message, which then isn't in a group, but the person gets it directly to their inbox, right? Their WhatsApp profile, as if it was a direct message. So then I'm like, oh boy, okay, so what these 2 people have in common is they both receive the blessing as and when it's created. Now there's an odd, just under 60 people who get the blessing as and when it's created. So then I get a third message from another friend on this list who says, I started listening to this message, and then I realized it wasn't for me. So I stopped listening because it felt a bit weird, like I was eavesdropping. And I just want to let you know that someone is expecting this, and it's not me. And then I think to myself, oh my God, okay, so this has gone out. I can delete it, but this has gone out to everybody. And so far, the 2 people who actually did listen got value. And so maybe let me just listen to this to make sure that there's nothing that gives away anything personal. So now, knowing that this was not the intention, it wasn't like I had some insight that I found valuable and I wanted to share in the hope that someone else found it valuable, and I made sure not to mention any personal facts. At the time of recording it, I thought it was going direct to the person I'd had the conversation with. So the divine choreography of all of this, I listen, and there's nothing in it. It's literally just going straight into analogies, insights, that could be helpful, with no reference to the person or the situation, and then I'm blown away. And I'm like, oh my God. Because none of that was on my side. My side was just showing up to authentically just hear someone's expression of what they were going through and just holding space. And then it also felt like it was just, it happened to come through my voice box, but it was just giving expression to things that I hoped would be valuable and seemed to be coming through. And since then, I personally have listened to that message a couple of times, and I have found it valuable. And it's not even like I'm listening to me. It's just, it's very interesting experience. So, and throughout the day then, I got other people messaging, some who got that it wasn't for them and telling me, and then others who just were appreciative of it. And it was just, it's so beyond phenomenal, because it starts off by saying, thank you for your sharing, and through your sharing, these are some thoughts that have come up. So there was somebody else who also had shared something. So when that person got it, they actually thought it was directly personal to them, and the reply was personally relevant and played into insights and relevancies. So, wow. And then I had somebody tell me that she'd had it kind of in a bit of an autoplay in the day. So massive lesson in each of us. Just show up to the best of your authentic self. And sometimes that's going to mean that if one's tired or you just don't have the capacity to listen, then sometimes that is what it is. It's showing up to say, actually, I don't have the capacity to listen right now. It's knowing also about healthy boundaries and what each individual person needs to be functional and sane and healthy and whole. And where am I going with this? That whole blend of everything. So show up to the best of your ability, and just know that life has her own agenda. Because if something that was all an honoring, if you feel there's something to be said that's coming from a place of support and nurture and is feeling very much alive and needs to be given wings and voice and dimension in this world, honor it, say it. And just however it lands, it's supposed to land, and whether it does or doesn't, it's not up to you, but just following through on honoring life, insights, being present, witnessing in integrity and authenticity, and knowing that when things don't go according to our plan, or things go completely unexpected, life has her own agenda, and just to trust and lean into that, no matter what we may feel in terms of our ideas of flow or stuckness or fluency. So here is, to trusting in a divine choreography beyond. And that's equally because even when it unfolds and it looks like it's falling apart, things are never what they seem. We really have no clue of this greater scheme and greater picture. Because I am already on 12 minutes, but it's just on every single which side. We don't understand. We have not enough perspective and distance and wholeness to see the full picture. Sometimes we get glimpses, but to always know that we are loved, even, especially, when it seems like the furthest thing from what is unfolding in before us. And if those are other moments of divine choreography, that our game is in showing up to the best of our ability, in dealing, as Nikki says, with our emotional and mental responses to things, because the actual unfolding of things, that's not really our point of power. Is much more in seeing where we're going on a mental and emotional level and playing there. Happy adventuring, present, mindful, as best authentic adventuring as we can. Mwah.